Good deal.
And there we are. We are live. Hey, everybody, all in the chat. Good to see everybody lining up already. And Dr. Erica is here. And we're so glad that she made it this week, right?
Yes.
Everybody give her a little hand clap. Yes. Yes.
It's been a little on the rough side, mostly because life requires sometimes that we do an upgrade. I know we talked about that before, that every time that our immune system is kicked on high, we get an upgrade. And I'm super grateful for the timing of this one, because not that it's a surefire thing, but the season ahead I'll already have antibodies rocking and rolling, which I do. And grateful to Vicks Vapo Rub. I went back to the origins of our childhood. My mom used to come over and she put like a hot towel over it after she put the thanks, Kenny. She'd put the Vapo Rub on and then put a towel in the oven, and then it would heat it up like really intensely, and then she'd put it on. And I was telling one of my girlfriends.
I remember that.
I know. I was telling one of my girlfriends yesterday. My mom lives basically right next door anyway. And I was telling her I could call her to have her do that again, and she would do it. I don't know if in a gas oven, if that's safe.
Well, and I just do hot water because I don't have a microwave either.
I don't have a microwave either.
I know.
We're the weirdos out here with no microwaves. Oh my gosh. Isn't that funny?
I haven't missed it.
No,
about 5 years ago.
How do you not have a microwave? I'm like, I don't want to radiate my food.
Right.
So I'd rather heat it up, saute it over a stove than radiate the heck out of my food.
And it goes so quickly when you do it that way, right?
Yes. So anyway, for those of you who weren't on here last week, I was in absenteeism, mostly because my patient load requires me to put so much energy there that during my lunchtime, I did listen in. It was fabulous. Of course, the natural Dr. Paula is brilliant in sharing. And so anyway, I'm back.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, and I think too, we, Laura doesn't have a microwave or a TV.
I do. I don't have TV. I have a TV. But I sit down once every 3 months. If that, I mean, I don't.
You did last week.
Yes, I had to sit my ass down.
Yeah.
Sit my ass down.
We talked about, what's that? Cheers.
You got your hot tea? Cheers.
I'm still working on my coffee from this morning. It takes me forever to drink my coffee. So.
Oh gosh, I slam mine.
Listen,
I really do.
You make the best coffee. So.
Well, yes.
Yeah. And speaking of coffee, I'm going to be interviewing Dr. Charles Livingston from Life Proof Coffee or Life Boost Coffee. I keep saying that wrong. Life Boost Coffee on Sunday Night Live. So Gil, you wanted to know about coffee, and I'm bringing in the experts. So mark your calendars for 6:00 there. And Uncle Al said Vicks Vapor was invented to replace old mustard rubs. I'm not old enough to remember the mustard rubs, but I remember people talking about that.
I'm freaking game for whatever.
Yes. Oh my gosh, look who's in the house with us. We have Jason from Coffee and Grit podcast.
Yay!
Thank you for joining us, my friend. Oh my gosh.
I love your podcast, by the way. I listen every week. You
guys jump on over to Roar Nation and go give Jason a subscribe. He's also trying to grow his YouTube channel. Let's see if we can drop the it's just Roar Nation. Yeah. Roar Nation. And there you are. And let's drop this in there. So go give him some love over there. And he interviews people in the community, cool people doing cool things. So jump on over there. There it is. Go give him a follow. And I am scheduled to be on that podcast in January. So
yay, I'm stoked for you.
Yes, for sure. And there's another rock star sitting right here with me, Jason, if you need another guest on your show. So
I'm always down.
Right. Let's see. No. Yes. Thank you. So I thought today we would talk about so hot mustard. But listen, I love that Chinese hot mustard and wasabi and all the things that like burn your brain, right? Because it just clears out your sinuses.
Heck yeah.
Erica and I went it was Sunday. We went to a different club to do yoga,
Oh my gosh.
right? It
We
was amazing.
hunted down Johnny Kest is what we did. Let's be honest. So if you know
Yes.
Johnny Kest, give us a woot woot. He's incredible. And he was doing a pop-up. He's not teaching regularly anymore. Anyway, go ahead.
And he's just, come from all over the world to train with him for yoga, and he's amazing. So we were able to go to his class, but it was over a lifetime. And afterwards, I walked into the steam room. I love a good steam room. And they had the eucalyptus, menthol, whatever it was, and it was just pumping through there. And I knew was struggling with sinuses. And I ran back out and I'm like, don't get dressed. Get back in here.
Meanwhile, I'm mostly dressed and whatever.
I'm
Yeah,
like, I have to go back
great.
in for 5 minutes. But
yeah, no, it's great.
Just that menthol, just boom, right through the sinuses, and it energized my skin and my breathing, my lungs. It was amazing. So,
well, yes, and let's not underestimate what that class did just to begin with, right?
Yeah.
So when you are doing regular fever inducing, and when we say fever inducing, we just mean from an external source in fever inducing stuff on a regular basis, you just get boosted and boosted and boosted and boosted. And so it's really great. Ooh, I had to jump.
And I think too that, so with Erica, so she and I were going to talk today about what it means to afford or not afford chiropractic. Can you afford to get sick? Can you not afford to get sick? Where chiropractic fits into that. And so I really want to talk about, with you being sick and all the things you did and what that meant, because I think that it's a great lesson for, we're healers. We're not completely bulletproof, although some might think so. But I think it's also important to know how we go about supporting our bodies and moving through this, which is what we want for you guys. Our goal is not to have we're coming into cold and flu season. So this is so apropos that you were sick, the timeliness of it, so that we can have this conversation about not running and grabbing all the over the counters and allowing your body to do what it's supposed to do. And so Dr. Erica just mentioned, going into a fever inducing state is what is ultimately going to help drive the death of these bugs. So she was doing a lot of that. So we did the hot yoga, but then tell everybody what you were doing at home as well.
So I do want to preface all of this by saying, even though I did work right through it, it's just like the crud, right? So it's not something that I'm like breathing all over everybody. Although prior to 2019-20, we were just working no matter what. You know what I mean? We were just working no matter what. And of course, we've all been super mindful through this. And my practice stayed open through all that safely. And so anyway, just to preface it all by saying I wasn't like hacking on my patients and all of that. It was just like my body was doing an upgrade. It started with severe spinal tension and pain, and then it developed. But the funny thing was, I know about fever and what it does for the body. And if you're into natural health at all, you do too. But my body was not fevering appropriately. Like I would, if I would normally get sick in the past, I would just fever really high, really short time and get it out of my system. And for whatever reason, I was just running a normal temperature this whole time. So fortunately for me and my wellness center in downtown Fenton, I have an infrared sauna here. So I did that a few times. And because it's at my disposal, like I have it anytime I want to, I tried to go every other day to that. Hot bath, of course, movement as much as possible, rest as much as possible, as many, hot teas as I could do, as many of all the things. And I've been talking to my patients a lot about this. So when our bodies are having some sort of symptom of some sort, it's like there's darkness in a room. And maybe we talked about this analogy before, right? So if my room is dark, I can't go in that room and pull out the darkness. Like it's not going to go out a window. It's not going to open a door and the darkness goes out. The only thing that we can do is flip on the light. So I did absolutely everything I could, including getting adjusted, including still getting on the massage table, including still walking, including all the things, to turn the light on and support my body as best as possible. Now, what I've done at my wellness center, because I have so much space here, is I have chosen to bring in these healing tools into my office for me. And then after I figure out how to integrate them into my practice, then I offer them up to patients. And I do want to say one more thing. The infrared sauna is great to use acutely, but it's even better to use regularly. Apply to everything, right? Apply across the board. It's okay to use these things acutely. They're even more effective to use regularly, whatever that means, once a week, once every 2 weeks, once a month, something like that. So,
and not just for pain,
right.
muscle stiffness, or illness, but like mental, right? If you've got anxiety, you're stressed. I mean, the infrared can really help your mental bandwidth. It can help bring down your fight or flight phase.
Yes.
So, which of course, if we're in too much fight or flight, which nobody is, right? Says, right? No.
No, there's no stress here. What?
No, none whatsoever. Yeah. Raise your hand if you have no stress. Okay. So yeah. So it's thinking of all the things you can do. And I love that analogy about the darkness, because I use a similar analogy about darkness and lightness. And I talk about a dimmer switch, and I swear to God, I'm going to have a dimmer switch put in my room, because I will literally sit in there with a patient, and they're like, 2 visits in, is it better yet? And I go and I flip the light switch off, and I go, first of all, if this was a dimmer switch, would you think that I could actually turn this on full blast all in one shot with, but I was only able to move it this much, couple little clicks. And so ultimately I say, it's like reading in the dark, and you're sitting there and you're like, turn the light on, and you're going to take a Tylenol, you're going to, whatever you can do, all the traditional things. Nothing's going to turn that light on until you start to allow the body to flow.
Right.
And so Dr. Erica was doing all of those things. And I've joked, and I can't remember if this is conversations with us or just in other,
we never stop.
another
So
talk.
just so you guys know, we never stop talking all day.
I think I did a Sunday Night Live, and I showed you guys my medicine cabinet. And my medicine cabinet is tinctures, tonics, teas, rubs, essential oils, homeopathic remedies. Like, there isn't a
Vicks
drug
Vapor
in my
Rub.
house. Yeah, Vicks. Yeah, there's not a drug to be found, but it is everything that is wonderfully supportive of my body. So that is what we're hoping for you. So as we come into cold and flu season, is start to recognize that if you do have a fever. Now, Erica and I talked about this. Like, I was kind of sad for her. I was bummed she didn't have a fever. She was bummed she didn't have a fever, because we know that when the fever rises, that heat is designed to kill off that bad pathogen to heal you faster. And so she had to do things, like go to hot yoga, sit in an infrared sauna to artificially, but still naturally raise her temperature. And the unfortunate part about this, and I'm going to ask you all a question: what is the first thing you typically do when you have a fever? So I'm going to give you guys a minute to drop that into the chat. What do you do when you have a fever?
So I want to add to that too, because Standard Process is a supplementation company, and they talk about fever as well. And it does burn things off. But the other thing that it does is it heats up the body to relinquish some calcium from the bones, which is why the bones start to hurt like that under fever. And the calcium that's relinquished into the bloodstream helps to turn on the immune system. And it's just like how freaking beautifully designed we are. So that bone achy, yucky feeling that you get, like it's so hard to even work with. I know, that is the bones relinquishing not a lot of calcium, but some calcium to then get into the immune system. The one thing that I love about the immune system is that it's not just one thing. Like we know our circulatory system is our heart, our blood vessels, all the things, and then our skeletal system is bones and that muscular system, very, very easy to separate out those systems. But the immune system is so freaking beautifully orchestrated, and it's orchestrated by many glands, tissues, all the things. And the orchestration, and that's why the nervous system is so important and making sure to take care of it, is all of that is orchestrated so beautifully to make sure the thyroid is doing this and this is doing this, and the pancreas and the adrenals and the kidneys and the bowels. Like it's so beautiful and vitally important to get adjusted for so many reasons, but that's one of them for sure.
Yeah, and I was trying to. I know that the data is out there, and I apologize. I didn't have a chance to pull them in and to share them directly here. But there are multiple studies on chiropractic benefits and the immune system. And one of the things that it does is it increases T cell formation. And so T cells are like, they're like the major army that helps to come in, and it's more long-term immunity as well. So
Right.
you get in, you start to attack acutely, as Dr. Erica said, but then it allows for that long-term immune function. So people and you and I have heard this multiple times where people come in and they're like, oh, I get sick at least 2 or 3 times a year. And then they come in and they're like, I haven't gotten sick this winter yet.
Right.
Because
or just mild symptoms, like not down into the thrones, right?
Yes, exactly. I want to go back to Gil at Grayman, taking my vitamins, drinking apple cider, and bundle up and go back to bed. Yes, and just respecting your body. And that bundling up, like you take a hot shower or a hot bath, and then wrap in blankets and just sweat. Yeah, just sweat it all out and allow your body to do what it needs to do. So, we talked. So I asked the question, what's the first thing you do? And Gil says he's going to take his vitamins, and okay, that's awesome. But most people are going to go and reach for that Tylenol, and they're going to want to suppress the fever. And this happens so often with kids.
Yeah.
Is that, whether it's Tylenol or in the non-steroidal anti-inflammatories like Advil and all of those other things, parents are just reaching, oh my God, they're freaking out that their child has a fever of 101. So normal. Even 102 for your kid.
Higher than that even.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Higher than that. And the other part is that, the body isn't going to keep raising the temperature. Like it's not going to keep going. It's not even designed to keep going and kill off the organism, meaning you. Like your fever's never going to get high enough to it's crazy. I don't know. I got in swear words earlier with a patient this morning, and not at her, at some of the lines that she was giving me that some of her healthcare providers have given her over the years. And she's like, I know you're not an MD, but I'm curious about my blood pressure. I'm like, well, what's going on with it? And what's your diet doing? And what's this? And what's that? And she's like, well, my blah, blah, blah says this and my blah, blah, blah says that. And I'm like, listen, F that. This is all BS, like full words though. And I'm like, and I'm tired of hearing it. I'm tired of it. And like, let's get your health on track. And the one thing that I did say, and I stood really strong in this, I've said, they are not looking for your health. I am looking for your health. I am trained in your health. I am trained in body health. They are trained in pharmaceuticals. I am trained in body health.
You get into an accident and you end up in the hospital. That's the appropriate time for medicine.
Yes.
Right? That's it, right? Yeah. Don't call me.
Nope.
Right? Go get it checked out, and then we can handle any whiplash stuff later. But in the grand scheme of things, yes, emergency medicine has its place. Yes. I was listening today. I want to comment here on the Peaceful Penguin says real ginger, tea, lemon, and honey. And again, this is how my mom raised me, right? Honey, whiskey, and lemon, period. Equal parts.
That's what I had on Sunday.
Yeah, that's right. We had brunch, and she
order it for your holiday drink when you're out with friends. Order yourself a whiskey toddy.
And, people have thought, when I have parents and their kids get sick, and I will tell them equal parts of honey, whiskey, and lemon, give them a teaspoon or two, depending on the age of the child. And they kind of look at me sideways. And I go, do you understand how much alcohol and artificial sweeteners, flavors, and colors are in those over-the-counter cough remedies
Right.
for
Sure.
your child?
For sure.
It's horrible. So why wouldn't you just do like a high
Why wouldn't you
quality
do Crown
bourbon?
Royal with your child? Why
Right?
wouldn't you?
I mean, for real. Yes. Let's see. I think
I'm joking, not joking, mostly.
Yes.
So one of the things that I do is when something is coming on and I need to burn it off, and it's really fascinating because even if I did the sweatshirt and all that, I never sweated. It was so weird this time. But one thing that I do is keep up the good work. What is it saying?
Okay, so that is, I know the languaging. That's from Facebook. This is
Okay.
it's Baptiste. He's from Africa.
Oh, yeah.
So we
Yeah,
have
yeah.
we have
Okay,
an
cool.
international channel. We have Baptiste from Africa.
That's
So
right.
thanks for being here, Baptiste.
So the one thing I do is I take a mason jar. Actually, I take my Vitamix, or what's the other one? The Ninja, with a smaller
Oh
container.
yeah, the bullet or
And
something.
I cut a lemon in 4 sections, skin on, and I cut up ginger, and I actually found raw live turmeric this time, turmeric root, and cayenne pepper. And I put it in my Ninja, and then I pour it into and I don't do this, and mix it with water. And then I pour it into a mason jar. And my patients, actually, there's one of them that always asks me when she's getting it, she's like, could you make me that tonic? And then I'll just mix it with water. So the mason jar, after I mix it up with water too, I then add water because it's like spicy. So I loved when you were saying, what was it? The ginger, yeah, tea, lemon, and
whiskey,
honey.
lemon.
But
Oh yeah.
I don't
That
like
people
honey in
finger.
mine. But so anyway, I shoot, like, I try, if I'm off, especially 2 ounces of that every 2 hours. That'll like really mix some stuff up for you.
And those are all things. So if we think about, we've got the antioxidants in the lemon, and the phytonutrients in the lemon, and then the vitamin C in the lemon, and then the turmeric is anti-inflammatory, and then what else did you have in there? Ginger
And cayenne
also
pepper.
anti-inflammatory, and then the cayenne pepper just like gives a blast to your immune system.
Sure.
Also helps with inflammation. So everything about being sick is an inflammatory response brought about by some crazy bug. And your body, and again, listen, like we are not living in a bubble, and we have stressors with whether it's family stress, whether it's our business stress, right? And we're juggling all the plates. So stress can get us, but it can be very sneaky too. It can be very sneaky. We think we're doing all the things, and then it takes you down, like it did with Dr. Erica. So, really important to just pay attention as much as you can. I will say that when I thought I had COVID in January of 2020, and I was sick as I've ever been in my life, besides when I got norovirus. So that was bad. But what was interesting is I was doing all the things, but I started having a scratchy throat on a Sunday.
Yep.
And then we found my mother dead on, she died of natural causes, literally just dropped dead. I told you guys that story, but grateful that she lived an incredibly full life, and then just 86 years old. Like,
always say it that way. It's so funny to me. I would
like,
never say, she just dropped dead.
She just dropped dead.
I would say, my mom passed away.
I know.
That's the yin and yang here again. She
know,
just
right?
dropped dead. My mom just dropped dead.
Yeah, that was it. She was like, I'm out. So that was Monday, right? So I started the scratchy throat on Sunday, and then that happened Monday. And then by Tuesday, I felt like a train had hit me, but I had to greet relatives. I had to plan the funeral. We had to clean out her apartment, like talk about stress, right? So by the time Friday came, and I mean, I could barely move. I literally, I was like, it was horrible. And maybe it might have even been Thursday, but I called my sister-in-law, who I know all she has is a pharmacy in her house. And I said, I need drugs. So this is why I'm telling you guys, I get it. I had to tap out at that point because I knew that I needed some kind of external pharmaceutical
Right.
to help me go be with 200 people for my mother's funeral for 2 straight days. Right. So in the absence of having to do something like that, this is where it's like, if I could have just stayed on the couch and slept and done, I was doing my tonics and my tinctures and my C and
Right.
my silver, it's all the things you can do to support. So
I do, just speaking of COVID, I don't know if I even say that word, we'll just get like kicked off here, but
right.
When I had it for the second time, so I've had it 4 times. I think it's the yin and yang again. I think your system is a little more resilient than mine.
I've had it twice, I think. So,
yeah, I definitely had it 4. So the second time I had it, I could feel something. So I always say it feels like something is taking over my body.
For sure.
That's my feeling. But I was able to call frontline doctors. I was able to fill out an application and on Frontline Doctors, and I could get anybody the website, although we don't need it as much anymore. But I filled out an application that said, "Are you symptomatic and are you a frontline worker?" Both of those were yes. So I was pushed to the top of the service, and I apply. I filled out the application around 10 o'clock on a Saturday morning. And then I went and got an IV at an RN with an RN, like the Myers cocktail or whatever. While I was driving that 30 minutes from when I filled out the application, a doctor from Florida called me from Fort Lauderdale. We had a brief conversation. They had ivermectin, a Z-Pack, a nebulizer, and a steroid to me. I had to go pick it up in Southfield within 2 hours. 2 hours. And it wasn't because I have some crazy insurance. I wasn't even insured at the time, actually, if I'm totally honest. And it was like $300 later. I had my bag of tricks with me, including ivermectin. I'm totally getting us kicked off of here, whatever. But where there's more what I wanted to say is there's more resources out there, and there's so much virtual help inside of the needing medication than ever before. Mm-hmm. Oh, thank you. You put up that website. I don't know if you ever had to use them, but I was like, holy crap, I have all this stuff. And it was really, really bad at the time. And I wasn't going to die, but man, it sure. So anyway, just
feels like it, right?
Yeah. And just know that you guys we're really approachable healthcare, Dr. Paula and I. And if there's any way we can help anytime, we don't have that kind of a capability, but we have links and connections to those kind of capabilities. And if we can be a middleman and somehow
resource. I mean, that's what we want to be, right? So we want to be that resource. And it's the same thing that when we have patients who I think I was telling Erica this, it's not immune related, but I have a young patient who was having severe back pain. It wasn't resolving. And I was like, something greater, there's something more going on here. Like I just knew he should have been healing. And I sent him for an MRI. His primary care physician would not send him for an MRI. And I said, no, I need you to go get this. Turns out he's got a 6, is that millimeter? Maybe 4 centimeters. It's big. It's like that big lipoma in his spinal cord. So, so again, these are we are very much in tune with where you should go, when you should go, who we should connect you with.
Right. And there's a lot of times that I'm like, I don't know who needs to see you next, but I do know who would know needs to see you next. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like the 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon. Like we're probably 2 away from a resource of some sort that we can then, help you along your way.
So. Between the 2 of us, we're a half away, I'd say.
There you go. Probably really true. Yeah.
Yeah. But sure. That's, so the lesson really is that, we survive, right? We survive. Yeah. And we are now coming back into that season, the C season, not the cold and flu season, but the other C season. And
we're kicked off anyway.
I know, right? I know. So this morning, well, then I'll just tell this story. So this morning, and you guys, prior to 2020, I did not watch the news. I didn't like watching the news. I'd turn it on for a few minutes in the morning because I wanted to see the weather. That was pretty much it. But I feel like since this craziness, I put myself into that line of fire. It's a very negative space, but I will get on and I will listen to the things that I feel like I need to hear, because these are the things you guys are being exposed to. And
Right.
if I'm not aware, then you're going to ask me questions, or us questions, and we're not really going to know how to answer it. So I like to put myself in the line of fire for a few minutes every morning so that I can hear what's going on in the world. So this morning on our local news channel, they were interviewing Idaho Garden Girl. They were interviewing I guess it's the new director of the CDC, because the previous director during all that craziness was fired, should be in jail, but that's a whole nother story. So we're getting kicked off. We're just we're just going
This
there.
one's, yeah, we're
I
gonna
know.
be like,
So
block those. Shadow
yeah,
definitely get banned.
bleep bleep bleep. So anyway, this new director, the local news person was asking her, okay, she was there to talk about cold and flu season and how people could prevent from getting sick, yada yada yada. All she mentioned was jabbing and boosting jabbing and get more jabs. And now you can get a flu, a COVID, and an RSV all at once. And I want to ask you a question. When are you going to contract COVID, RSV, and the flu all at once in nature? It is not going to happen. So do not line up and put all three of those into your body all at once. In my opinion, don't do any of them. But that's my opinion, and that's for you to make that decision. But I'm telling you, that does not occur naturally in nature. Same thing when you line your kids up and you give them 9 jabs in one day. They will never, ever be exposed to 9 major illnesses like that, childhood diseases, as they are called, because they help do things like later on in life produce immunity against cancers and autoimmune diseases.
Right.
But we shut it down when they're in
I think
they're in their childhood.
yeah, just to kind of piggyback on that, I think our world is always looking for efficiencies, and so they'll lump those together like that, and it's
Mm-hmm.
even more critical to, if you're going to do anything, do individual.
Yeah.
Always, always, always,
Yeah.
always. So,
Well, and
um,
this morning when she was talking about jab, 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 and she was like, and I just want to come to you as a parent and talk to you about what I do for my family. And she has an 8 and a 10-year-old, like young kids. And she's like, and we all have gotten our flu and our COVID. And I was like, oh, and she's like, and we're keeping up on the research. I'm like, you are not, actually. You are absolutely not. So when you hear the words safe and effective, I need you guys to pay attention. That is not a thing. That, you know what's safe and effective? Water. That's
hot
about it.
tea.
And hot
Taking
tea.
good care of yourself, just
Mm-hmm.
taking super good care of yourself. I was listening to a podcast, Roberto Monaco, right? Yeah.
Yes.
And I was just sharing with Paula, because we do Marco Polo every day and kind of chat about our days and what's going on. But anyway, he was saying that, Steve Jobs, at the end of his life, he had a short life, right? He passed away from a medical situation early. He had all the money he wanted, but all he really wanted was another birthday, another day to be alive for his, and it gives me chills just even saying that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah. And
he
he
was
had also,
also,
go
yeah,
ahead.
he was also saying that, and I was just, kind of shooting from the hip with Dr. Paula, and just saying, since it's the Christmas season and everyone has a Christmas wish list and whatever, it's like, when we're well and we're healthy and we're feeling good and our energy is at a good place, our wish list for what we want in our life, not things, but just what we want in our life, what we want to do with our days, that wish list is long, right? So we want to get up, we want to get a workout in, and we want to find some good food today, and we want to take care of our families, and we want to walk our dogs, and we want to get a good hot yoga class in, and we want to have cocktails with friends, and we want to go to the next party and do all the things. Like, the wish list is long. When we don't have our health, our wish list is very short. It's one thing. I wish I felt better. I wish I felt like I did yesterday. I remember through the years, I'm a snowboarder, I'm super active. And I just remember there was a couple different injuries that I had snowboarding and otherwise that I'm like, I wish I could go back to right before this happened, or I wish I could go back to yesterday when I didn't feel this injury, or I wish I could go back to 2 Saturdays ago when I wasn't feeling yucky. Like, that's all you want when you don't have your health. And so health is so low tone. It's an undertone of our entire all of our days and our life. And it's low tone until we don't have it. Then it gets super duper high toned in our life. And if we can just do things every single day, which is why we're doing this, why we're sharing from truly from the front lines, right? Why we're sharing this on a regular is so that you can just have in your awareness weekly, ad nauseum, eat well, move well, think well, drink your water, get your rest, and get adjusted. I'm telling you, it will keep your other wish list really long.
Yeah, so true. I mean, that's a drop the mic moment on that, because this is what we're doing, and we see people. And um, I was telling Erica a story about an interaction with a patient, and then another patient, and then I think she replied back to me. This is through our Marco Polo, and she replied back and she said, "It seems like you care so much more about your patients than they care about themselves." And oftentimes that's what it feels
That's
like,
our
because
toxic trait.
it's
It's truly.
it's so bad. It's so
Yeah.
bad. And the problem with that is, the reason that happens, at least for me, is because when I'm able to see that something so simple like a chiropractic adjustment, or helping you eat healthier, or helping you get moving, or breathe better, or improve your sleep, like, these are all pillars of health that every
Mm,
single person, to me, like, this is a birthright. And so
yeah.
when I see that if we just made some small changes, that I know it would just impact your health to the nth degree, and then there's resistance there, it's heartbreaking to me. It
Mhm.
really is. I'm like, oh my
It's
God.
painful.
It really is, because
Mhm.
you see the potential in other people. And then, like, I had a patient who is, she's chronically sick, anxiety, depression, and her mom died about a year and a half ago, I guess, 2 years ago, maybe, I can't quite remember. But she derailed herself. She literally, like, was sabotaging herself, just gorging, eating, not exercising, not, like, deliberately trashing her health. And I
Mhm.
just said, do you think your mom would want this for you? Like, you're still here on planet Earth, designed to live a life of full vitality and make great impact to others. How in the world are you supposed to do that, given what you're doing to yourself? And what
Mhm.
example are you leaving for your kids?
Right.
So, so it just comes back to, sometimes we have to really just be bold enough to say things like that to people,
Mhm.
because it's truly out of love, because we know there's a better path for you,
Right.
and we know through chiropractic care and chiropractors that we can help you get there.
And I got to say this too. I don't know if there's another office that you would walk into where we like really truly love you. Like, we
Yeah.
really do have so much love and compassion for whatever brought you into our office, even if you're in there for wellness. And for us to be able to put our hands on this body that has honored me and just entering my doors. And now they're laying down for me to let me do this to them. Like, I mean, I get chills from head to toe just saying that. Like, we truly do love you and want the best for you. And to a fault, to our own fault. And then we also need to check ourselves. And fortunately, Dr. Paula and I are new friends, but we are like soul sisters and from a different planet, right? But now we have each other every day to be able to say, you know what, I love this person so much, and they're not listening, or they didn't hear what I was trying to say. And that's so frustrating to me. And I'm still going to go back the next day and love them too again. I'm going to do my best to try and love them again. And it really is truly love. It really is. It's
And I
really
think
sweet.
oftentimes don't you sometimes feel like it's parental love
It
because
is.
you're
It's like
taking
that.
you're
Yeah.
taking almost a
Mhm.
tough love
Yeah.
perspective.
Oh, yeah.
And
I tell them I'm not a bakery. I'm not here to sugarcoat stuff. I am never going to sugarcoat for you. I will show up real and I'm going to be a realist and I can't soften this for you because that doesn't serve you.
mhm.
But I'm
Yeah,
not a bakery and I didn't come to sugarcoat your life.
I love it. I'm stealing that line.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, and I've had people over the years, like I can probably pick them out on one hand,
Yeah.
who did not
Yeah.
like that approach. They did not want to hear the truth and they left the office. And
Yeah.
I'm like, that's fine because I'm not here to lie to you. I'm here to
Yep.
get you well.
Right.
And when you're ready to hear the truth about what it's going to take for you and your family,
Right.
then come on in because my doors are always open.
Yep.
I will never turn you away. But I'm also, I know I'm not a bakery. I love that. But I'm also not the person who's just going to let you show up here. And, I have said this for 20 years, which is what got me into functional medicine was that if I'm adjusting you and you're going out and eating Big Macs every day,
Yeah.
I'm not helping you.
Yeah.
So that just isn't going to work.
Yeah.
You've got to be able to take some responsibility for yourself. And I think it's worth repeating because we talk about so much on this channel, but you go out life, right? So there's life. And I think Dr. Erica said this in a few podcasts ago, that life takes you down
Yeah.
every day, physical, chemical, emotional, spiritually. Like life throws all the things at us. We are going to get your body strong by adjusting the nervous system, by giving you that power. But then every time you go out into the world, it's another chink. If the dimmer switch is fully up, you
Yep.
go out into the world, physical stress, chemical stress, emotional
Yep.
stress, driving
Yep.
stress, job stress, financial
Yep.
stress. And the dimmer switch just keeps going down. And then you're like, I haven't needed you for 6 months and now I can't walk. And it's like,
Right.
well, you did need me. You just were
Yes.
ignoring the fact that you needed
Yeah.
me, right? So
Yeah.
and we're going to have Dave Major on. He's an incredible chiropractic advocate, and he'll be on probably in January. And actually, next week we're going to have James Chester on, who also not chiropractor, but very entrenched into chiropractic and the power of it that he has devoted his whole career to
Right.
chiropractic. Same with Dave Major. And so, this just goes back to the fact that and so Dave Major talks about is that whatever your stress level is, the chiropractic care has to equal or slightly exceed that in order to give you the best
The benefit
possible
from it.
ability to be able to counteract that and be as vitalistic in life as you can.
Right.
So when you're like, oh, I'm going through a divorce. Here's my chiropractic adjustments, but here's my stress. I'm going through a divorce. My kids were fighting in court. You're like, I don't need to see you for a month. No, you kind of need to see me a couple times a week right now.
Yes. Right. No, for sure. I think just to piggyback on top of that is our body. So people come in and they have a musculoskeletal issue, right? And we start getting under care, and maybe that symptom, whatever that is, um, it it doesn't go away right away. And here's the thing to piggyback on what Dr. Paula was saying is like there's a healing hierarchy, right? There's only so much healing the body can do in a day. So if it's having to heal from a shitty diet, and it's having to heal from sitting long hours, and it's having to heal from smoking cigarettes, it's having to work on the lungs every day, it's having
Poor
to
sleep.
heal from constant bombardment of stresses in our lives. We're not handling stress very well. It doesn't have a chance to get to the musculoskeletal system because holy crap, like all the internal organs are way more important than your arm. You know what I mean? Like to heal the heart, to heal the lungs, to heal the belly, to heal the brain, to do all this stuff. There's only a certain amount of healing that's available to us on a daily basis. And so if you're constantly assaulting the body over and over, it's spending all your energy trying to heal from the bullshit lifestyle instead of like, hey, let's actually use this healing energy, add life things into our bodies, help your body turn the lights on so that it can also take that healing energy and put it towards healing whatever's ailing you and not the stuff that is behind the scenes because of constant and continuous environmental assault.
That's such a great analogy. I mean, think about like being stuck in a mud bog, and the
For
more
sure.
you hit
Or
the
the
more you hit
backpack
the
that Dr.
accelerator.
Chestnut used to talk about,
Yeah,
filling
right.
that sucker with rocks every day and trying to
Yeah.
stay afloat. Come on. Come
Yeah. And
on.
that's what most Americans are doing virtually every day, right?
Yes.
So yeah, let's take the rocks out of the backpack. Let's put some sand under the tires, get ourselves out slowly. And everything takes time. And I think I talked about this a little bit last week with a patient of mine who he's like almost 70. I know I've talked about him anyway, but he's almost 70 and he's had severe atrophy in his legs. He was so out of shape that he was stretching and literally ripped a muscle.
Yeah.
So that's bad. And then, but it had so much atrophy. And then he's only been here like 5 weeks. And he says, he's like, well, I'm not feeling as strong as I'd like to. Can you give me more exercises? And I said, so I think that's also like, how long should it take? We need to have that conversation. How long should it take? Yeah. And I said to him, I said, you're however old he is. And I said, it's not overnight. And I said, you atrophied so severely.
Right.
And I said, this is not like, what do you expect is the question. What do you expect when you come to the chiropractor and you're like, wait, you want to see me for 5 months? Yes, I do, because you're bringing me 20 to 30 years of shit, right, if not more. And you want me to throw up a Hail Mary? It's not going to happen.
Right.
So we really need people to understand the power of the healing, which is why we're having these kind of crazy conversations.
Right.
So, yeah.
I have, I'm going to give it 4 more minutes, then I got to shut down and go see my baby.
All right. That sounds good. We can go ahead and start to wrap it up. Do you have any, so I think talking about the, what do you expect and the length of healing, but also on that, I would like to bring in some studies, because when we talk about length of healing, tendon ligament healing requires 12 to 18 months to get repaired. And that's in a healthy body, where most people are so deficient of the nutrients that they need. I did a body comp test today on one of my 30-year-old patients who's trying to gain some muscle, and he keeps losing weight. He doesn't understand why. I said, let's do the body comp. And we did that. His bone density was like in the tanker. It should be at least a 6. He was at a 3. So his bone density was really
so dangerous.
So bad. So I said, listen, we've got it. So we're actually going to do an organic acids test all the bugs in his butt, get it in his gut. We're going to test, which
through
I guess,
the butt,
which is kind of the same thing.
I mean, and again, we're not a bakery here. No. We're not a bakery.
We're not a bakery. So we're going to do that. And we're going to do some blood work, because he's too young for that. He does have digestive issues. We know that for sure. And yes, I did. So, but that's the whole thing, is that we're here to be able to look and find the root cause of everything. And he really wants to gain muscle. And I said, we can't do any of that until we fix the problem of absorption, get your bones absorbing properly, get the muscles, he goes to the gym and he's like in pain for 3 days. Yeah. That's not normal. So figuring out those things. I just wanted to read this out loud. Thank you so much, Grow Big. I get so uplifted and motivated listening to you both talking about health and wellness. We are so happy that you're here. And I will have your, so I'm doing a video each week on a vegetable, doing a video on peas. I'll be rolling that. I'll have that for you in a little bit later for tonight's podcast. So make sure you go over to Grow Big TV. They are trying to, they're growing fast. They're doing great things. I'm talking about how to grow food, and then all of the benefits of whatever that food is. So
I just wanted to kind of wrap up with one more thing. So 45 minutes or 50 minutes is a very short amount of time for 25 years for Paula, and 20 years in practice for me. And so no more broccoli. And so I just want you guys to know that our information and what we have to share is so deep and so far reaching and stretching. And every week we have more and more and more experiences and dealing with patients, that I'll just use the analogy of, when you go out on a first date with somebody, it's always good. Or let's go to this. If you watch a movie it's always good to leave the movie wishing the movie was much longer than being in the movie and wishing it ended an hour ago, right? Apply to first dates, all the things. Like, it's so much better to leave a conversation and want so much more than to wish this conversation was done like as soon as we started. So just know to hang on with us, because we're just going to be dropping gem after gem. This is going to go to a podcast. We'll have that out on the podcast platforms.
Look what Kenny said. None for me, please. I'm good. I'm all good on that. No stress here.
Yeah.
Nope. This girl's good. Living the single life, enjoying all of it. So yeah. So listen, we appreciate you guys being here. So next week we are going to have James Chester. And like I said, he is a massive chiropractic advocate. So you're going to love him. And then the following Thursday, we're going to have Roberto Monaco, who Erica had mentioned earlier in our show about, he talks about that story with Steve Jobs. He also has had basically chiropractic saved his daughter's life when she was born. Okay. And he has devoted, he's a speaker. He does speaking training. I actually attended one of his professional speaker trainings. He used to work for Tony Robbins, and he's amazing. So you guys are going to love both of these people in the next couple of weeks. So make sure
you already love us. So let's just make sure that we stay in our lane too. So
exactly.
Okay, bye, you guys. Love you so much.
All right, you guys have an amazing weekend. And then I will also see you on Sunday for Sunday Night Live Q&A. And don't forget, we have Dr. Charles Livingston. We're going to talk all about coffee this Sunday. So tune in for that. I'll be dropping that link here probably today or tomorrow sometime. I have to do a video first for you, Joe, and then we'll get that out. So, all right, you guys. Oh, and you know what? I can't do Survival Saturday again because I'm involved in another evening Christmas event in the community. So after this Saturday, I should have some Saturdays open. So I will look forward to joining you back on Saturday again, Gil. So thank you for that. If you need me to do any quick videos or anything, let me know. I can probably, hopefully, rip something off there. Not rip it off. You know what I mean? Whip it off. I don't know. Okay. All right, you guys, have an amazing, yes, you're going to love it. So tune in. Have an amazing day. Love you all. Thank you for showing up for us each and every day. We are super grateful for each and every one of you. And again, if there's anything specific that you want to talk about, just like we've got coffee coming up with Gil. And then in 2 weeks, in a week from Sunday, I've got a holistic dentist coming on talking about vitamin D, deuterium water, TMJ, jaw issues. So you're going to want to check in with that as well. So please make sure if there's anything you want to hear, let me know. I'm here to serve. All right, you guys, have an amazing Thursday. Talk to you soon. Bye.